A 99-year-old World War II veteran raises $2.8 million for UK healthcare workers amid the coronavirus.
Here's a summary of the article.
A 99-year-old World War II veteran has raised more than £2.2 million for workers in the UK's National Health Service during the coronavirus pandemic. With the help of a walking frame, Tom Moore has challenged himself to walk 100 lengths of his backyard, which is 25 meters long, before he turns 100 years old at the end of April. Moore is doing 10 laps a day in order to complete the challenge. Moore smashed his original fundraising target of £1,000, receiving nearly $2 million in donations on Tuesday alone. Originally from Yorkshire in the northeast of England, Moore served as a soldier in India and Myanmar during the war, after completing an apprenticeship as a civil engineer. On Twitter, Moore said he was blown away by the great British public and their generosity. Moore is fundraising for NHS Charities Together, which is a campaign generating funds for all the different charities representing Britain's health service, in order to support healthcare workers looking after those affected by the coronavirus.
This post received a score of 31,000, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Is he accumulating more money? First time I read this as was £900,000, next time £1.2 million. Now he's got to £2.2 million. And #X200B, edit, as others have pointed out, as of 20 April 15050 he has raised over £4 million. To keep track, or if you want to donate.
It's going to keep going up until his 100th birthday in the end of April. These articles are only going to add wood to the fire. That's why I donated.
I would have preferred if folk didn't vote in peeps who systematically defund the NHS and then cheer on AUL punters like this, who shouldn't be doing this.
Some More News did a great video that really reflects my feeling about the dystopian reality of all those inspirational stories.
Kind of like how half of our uplifting news belongs in a boring dystopia when accounting for the fact that the powers that be should have solved the featured problem already and not relied on a frugal 9-year-old buying his handicapped friend a wheelchair he needs, as an example.
All these feel-good, inspirational stories only show a deficiency in what our society is able to provide for its people. We wouldn't need stories about generous people giving to a GoFundMe campaign to save a child suffering from cancer if we had universal healthcare. We wouldn't need to watch news broadcasts about how neighbors gave food, shelter, and money to a tornado victim if he had a well-run food program, disaster protection, and actually hold insurance companies accountable for not fulfilling claims.
What's my excuse?
You're not a 99-year-old World War II vet.
Ah yes, the great meme war of the century.
Imagine if the government provided for healthcare workers like they're supposed to, instead of this poor 99-year-old having to do laps in his garden to raise money. This country is fucked up.
It's the same that's been preached since the old witch had been in power, the dismantling of all public sectors for private interests to leach them dry so the public can buy back the rotten ruins and bring them back to shape.
If that's the idea, then they're doing a shit job privatizing the NHS. Privatization of the NHS is not and never has been a sudden action, but a slow process. Each step may not be headline news story, and the bullshit is complicated by design, but it's still important to recognize, understand, and fight against the privatization of our health for profit. The impact of those policies, however, definitely line the pockets of investors and pharma companies, sacrificing the public's health to do so. This article gives one example of the more mundane ways the NHS has been privatization, written in the context of the current pandemic crisis.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.